Okay, so we're going to look at doing the stairs for this building, and we'll start with the exterior stairs that you can see in the photo here, going up to the landing there, and then they continue on. And unfortunately, I don't have the better photo that shows them, but we can see a little bit of it here as well. That's enough for us to be able to make them. So, well, there are a couple of tricks I can show you as well. So to get this to be perfect, I would actually use model in place to make this bottom part, to make it all one solid shape. But I'm not going to show you that to start with. I'm going to show you how to do it all with the stair tool, and then later on, if you have time, I'll show you how to make it look exactly like this using model in place. So again, just want to focus on the stair tool to start with. And so what I find with the stair tool is that it'll help a lot if you draw in some reference planes to set out the location of the important elements in that stair. More just for your own set out than anything else. So I'm going to go back to the ground floor plan and then draw in a reference plane alongside this wall to establish the width of this staircase. Okay, and so it's, I'm assuming it'll be maybe 1100 wide, and that allows us to have a metre clear between the handrail and the wall, and the extra 100 mil just gives us a bit of room for the handrail or the balustrade. And again, even though I don't really need this, I'm going to draw one more reference plane alongside that wall just so that you can see where the edge of this landing is. And then I'll draw another one below that establishes the width of our landing, which again, I'm just going to make 1100. And that's a good rule of thumb when you're making your stairs. You can make them much narrower than that, but if you make them 1100, that works really well for fire stairs, because again, it allows for that 1 metre clear room with the room for the handrail. So that's pretty standard to use 1100. I'm just going to extend this reference plane as well, and that is where the flight there finishes. This is a bad photo, so let's go back to the other one. Here we are. So the top of this flight here is in line with the end of that wall. So that's what we're looking at here. That's that corner of the wall, and that's where that last step should be. And, oh yeah, and then I'll do one more reference plane over here. And adjust that dimension so that it's measuring from my previous reference plane. And again, I'm going to make that 1100 as well. Okay, so that's the basic setup for my stairs. Because this might be one of the first stairs you've made though, I'm going to just draw in a few more to make it easy for you when you're doing it. So you can see here from the photo, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 risers. But we've actually got 1, 2, 3, 4 treads. And we're going to assume they're standard treads, or sorry, the minimum size for our treads. So looking at BCA, minimum size for a public stair, which is what this is, it's 250 going. So we'll just use that. Okay, so we've got 4 treads, 250 times 4, it's 1000. So we'll draw a reference plane here, which will locate the beginning of our staircase. And again, just adjusting the dimension there so that I can measure from the right plane. Make that 1000. And that'll be enough. So now I can start drawing my stair. So I'm going to use the stair tool. And so I'll just point out a couple of things here. When you're making stairs, you need to start by thinking about your levels, and you only need to think about the floor levels. So in other words, the floor level that it starts on and the floor level that it goes to. So we're starting on ground floor, but this exterior stair starts a bit lower than the inside. Now, it's also probably been fudged a little, well not fudged, but they probably built up the ground there even more. But we'll assume it's starting from the ground floor and they're also not ground floor, the ground level, and that they're all even. So remember, we brought the ground level down 100 mil from the floor level. So I'm going to make the base offset there minus 100, so that it starts 100 mil below the ground floor level. That's the height of our topo surface. Then the top level will be level 1. So we've already established that height, and I'll just show you it in case you haven't checked that recently. So I've got mine now at 3,500. So you need to make sure that's your height. And then this also has something extra at the top, which is a bit hard to see in the photos, but I'm pretty sure it steps up 2 more rises at the top. And, well, we just have to assume a standard height for those. So, yeah, probably this is not a really... Oh, yeah, so it's the same one. So, oh, yeah, that's clearer. That's good. Yeah, so I think there are 2 steps there. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we can assume let's say they're 180, so, or even 175. Okay, so that means 175 times 2 is 350. So I'm going to make the top offset minus 350. Right, this will be simpler. When we do the internal stair, we won't need to add those offsets in, but to make this one work, we need those. And then, over in the on the ribbon there, I'm going to click Run again. So Run is the tool you use to make your stairs, basically. And then, you'll see over in Properties, if you've got the levels, so here I've got ground floor and level 1, it'll then work out the number of rises. So I'm just going to count these. So what do we say? We've got 5 rises at the entry, and then another, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 in the main flight that comes up from that landing. So 5 plus 11, so we've got 16 in total. The rises? Oh yes, I haven't even adjusted that yet. So over here it's got desired number. So I'm going to try reducing that to 16. And then it's going to give me an error. It's telling me the actual riser height of the stair is greater than the maximum. So what that means is that with the calculations, it's ended up with a 200 mil riser. And of course we can't do that because it's...
Should we change the base offset to minus another 100 or 200?
Well, that'll make it even worse. That'll make it lower.
Oh, yeah.
So we want to make it... Yeah, so I think the problem is that there might even be 3 risers on that part. You can't see one of them because it's hidden in the photo. So if we say there are 3, so, and let's make it a round number, so I'll bring up the calculator. So even though Revit does the calculations for you, you still need to sometimes do some on your own. And so let's make it 180 riser times 3, it's 540. So I'm going to make the top offset minus 540, not minus 350. So we need to remember that the ones at the top are 180, and that's going to be a separate staircase. So now, if I make the desired number 16, what does it give us? 191. Oh, so close. Okay, so we need to go a bit further, so we can do that. So if I make it 190 rises times 3, so this is the 3 extra steps we'll have at the top. So that's 570. So I'm going to make this minus 570. So all those people who told you don't have to do maths in high school, to work in design, yep, that's where they'll come along. So let's see now what we get. It should update the calculations, but it's being a bit slow. Or is it just me? Yeah, okay, so 191. So close. Okay, so maybe I'll make the... What else can I do there? I mean, we've got 16, so it's got to work. What else can we do? Maybe I'll make this base offset minus, minus 50. It's not the best because in reality they're even lower than this. But we have to do it, I think. Or is there anything else we can do? I think that's it. So I'll make this, I'll just make it 0. And they'll have to have a bigger step at the bottom. But there we are. If that's 0, then it's 183 risers, and that's fine. But yeah, we need to get the risers under 190. And again, it's nice that Revit does the calculations for you, but you still have to be able to do those on your own. So if it's 0, floating, I don't really like that, but I think that's what we have to do. So if you're not sure what I mean, so it's here where we've got this this first step. It's going to be starting at the floor level, so essentially it's going to be above the level that we want. So I'd say in reality these stairs probably wouldn't comply. They might be all a mil too high, and there's a good chance of that. That's often the case. Yeah, so I'll live with it, and we'll have a gap. So we can fill that gap in afterwards. And so there, at least now, with that minus 570 top offset, we've got the riser height down to 183. And then I'm going to go down, also now I'm going to go to edit type, just so that you can see where that's set. You'll see that some stairs will have the riser height, the maximum riser height set to 180. So there you can see it is already 190, but you need to be able to adjust that. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, and I'd say there's one that we can't see as well. That's below those. Yeah. Minus how much? Oh, well, I've already got mine minus 570. So if we make it less, then the riser height would be higher. So that goes back to even being worse. So yeah, I think that's the best we can make it, because minus 570, that's 3 risers at the maximum 190. Okay, so now I'm just going to go back to with the run tool and then the straight. So all I want to point out there is that you've got all these different options. I wouldn't recommend using any of these at the end. The L-shaped and the U-shaped winder are really difficult to work with. If you need to do winders, it's usually better just to do sketch, which is this option here, create sketch. Right, but that's where people have problems. They'll often use the L-shaped winder to make an L-shaped stair, and it's not the right tool. To make an L-shaped stair, that's what I'm going to do now, you just use the straight. Okay, so I've got straight, and then now notice that once I do that, it gives me the option to change the run width. So there, that's where we can put in our 1100 width. And then I can also change the location line to run left. So now I'm simply going to click on the intersection between that reference plane and the wall, and come over to the right, and notice how it's automatically going to line up perfectly, because I've set that all out with the right calculations. And then I'm going to click onto that corner point again and bring it straight up and just let it go as far as it wants to. So that's how you do an L-shaped stair, just with the straight tool. And so that tells us something, that the setup we did previously was actually pretty close. This wall, it's not exactly in the right place, but it's pretty close. Right, so when you have a look at that back of the building, the stairs should finish basically at the top of that wall. Oh, yep, so I'll show you. And this is the great thing about the new stair tool, that you can look at it all in 3D while you're making the stair. So there you can see it is floating at the bottom, right? That's the 100 mil that I didn't want, that we've got there between the floor, but that's how it is. That's okay, we can live with that. I'll show you how you can bring the side up later. And then at the back, So what do you think you'd do there to get the stair to line up with the wall? I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll bring the wall out. Because remember, the door,
There's another set of stairs on top of the
yeah, on top of the wall. Yeah, so that's another one. So we'll do that afterwards. So, okay, so I'm just going to finish this stair. Okay, and so then we'll worry about the railing later too. For now, I'm just going to get that wall and bring it out. So I'm going to line that wall up using the move tool with the stairs. Because remember, our real estate drawings are probably wrong. Whereas the length of the stair probably is going to give us a better indication of where that wall really is. So that's now lined up. And then it also tells us the height of that wall. So that wall now can be brought down to line up with the last stair. I've just done that by eye. That's probably going to be pretty close. And but we can even do the calculations and work it out properly. So with the offset there, so that's minus 570 from level 1. So to avoid having to remember that all the time, I'm going to go now and make a new level. This is what you'll often find when you're making lots of stairs. Make levels for them, and it makes your life easier. So I'm just going to make a new level here in my section view. No matter where you make it. I'm going to call it top of stair. And so it's 570 below this level, level 1. So that means it's 2930. So a bit difficult to read now, so I'll change the scale to 1 to 50 just so my text is a bit smaller. And then if I go back and select that stair, just to test it out, I'm going to change the top level to top of stair and make the top offset 0. And if I've done everything properly, the stair shouldn't change. Because top of stair should be 570 below level 1. So now I can go in my plans to find that top of stair level. And this will be a good chance to look at your view settings a bit more. I want to make a floor here that sits over the top of those walls. I can't see the walls. So over in view properties, I've got to go to view range, go to view, click edit, and then all I'm going to do is change the view depth to unlimited. Click OK, and now I can see everything that's underneath this view with those dashed walls there, with the dashed lines. And then I can simply draw a floor. And I'm just going to draw a rectangle to draw the shape I need. Finish it, and then in my 3D view I can see my floor. So if you want to tidy that up, you can attach those walls. If you select them, you can use attach top base and then select that new floor just to make it a bit cleaner. Oh yeah, sure, yeah. Okay, so I'll delete the floor, just look at that. So I did it in the top of stair view, and then I just clicked on the floor button. And then went to the rectangle shape, and then just went from the corner of the walls up to the corner on the inside. That's it. It's finished. So back to 3D, and so now I'm going to use tab to select those two walls, and then attach top base and choose the floor. So it's getting good just to keep an eye on the stairs. So you can see now that this stair has the last step, or the last riser, effectively is that new floor. So always think of it that way. The floor that you're going to is your final riser, or your final tread, sorry. And so it's really helpful to have that level when we go to do the next stair as well. So back to top of stair, and I can see my floor. So I'll go back to the stair tool, and then I'm going to choose one of the monolithic stairs, one of the concrete, either cast in place or pre-cast. They basically are the same, or they're very similar. But I'll go to monolithic. So these are both concrete stairs. So the other one actually, so we'll change that as well, but we'll do this first. So again, back to monolithic stair. And I'll go to edit type. Right, remember I was saying sometimes you've got to change that riser height. So notice here, it's 180. So I'm going to make that 190. And then the minimum tread depth as well is too small. So I'm going to make that 250. Then OK. And then I don't know how far this one is from the wall because it's not clear in the photos, but that's okay, I can work it out. So I'm just going to click a point in space and then take it to the left. And actually, so you better say 3 risers. Yeah, 3 risers, that's right. We want 4 risers. So, oh no, 3's enough, that's okay. Alright, so I can see where maybe I made a mistake with my calculations before, but that's what we'll come back to that. So here, if I click to the left, you can see it's only going to let me go as far as the risers that we have over here. So notice how, I didn't show you, but notice how it's got the base level is top of stair, and the top level is level 1. So it looks for those levels. You can always adjust it if you need to, but they're the levels we want. And then again, the desired number of risers comes from the difference between those two levels, which is 570, divided by the maximum, which is 190, and that gives us 3. So again, it's going to click a point over here, take it to the left, and let it make as many stairs as it can. And now I can always select that, click move, and snap to the right place. So it's something like that. And again, I'll finish it, and then we'll have a look in the 3D view before tidying it up a bit more. So now I can select the previous stair, and over here in properties, change it to monolithic. Precast won't work because I haven't changed the settings for that one yet, so I've got to go to monolithic. And now it looks a lot more like the photo. I'm going to delete this railing, we don't need it. So the railing's a separate object, so you can always delete those. This railing's actually pretty close to the one you've got. It's a horrible old metal railing, but cast iron thing, but this one's not far off, so I'll leave that. This stair at the top doesn't have any railings, so I'll delete both of those. And then maybe because you haven't used the railing tool very much up until now, I'll just spend a bit of time looking at the railings. So we've got an issue here because we want this railing to be broken. So I'm going to show you how to do that. If I select that railing, go to edit path, and I'll just show you what the problem is. If I delete this segment and then try to finish it, it's going to give me an error. Okay, so you can't do that. You can't have a railing with 2 separate paths. It has to be one connected path. So I'll quit sketching. So there's a little trick. You can simply copy that railing. So if I select it, I'm going to go here, copy clipboard, and then paste a line to the same place. So now I've got 2 overlapping in the same place, so I'll go now to edit path, and I'm going to delete all of the segments from this except for the long one, and then finish it. So now it's just there, that blue part. And then I'll go back to my original railing and do the reverse. Again, edit path, and I'm going to select the long part and delete it, and this part here as well. So now I've just got those two parts that run along the side on the right, coming up, finish it, and now I've got two separate railings. And so then, to finish all of this, we want to have one more stair, and this is actually a pretty new feature in Revit. And so until recently, you couldn't have two flights in the same direction, if that makes sense. Like we're going to do now, or like you have in a lot of Georgian stairs. That doesn't make sense. It'll be clearer when I show it to you. So again, I'll select that and then edit stairs. So essentially I want this flight to be copied over here. You can do that with the new stair tool. So I can just select that and then use copy and then bring it over and see it works. That's a pretty cool thing. So now again, if I use rotate, I'll just bring that around 90 degrees. And then click move, bring it over, and then the landing here is another separate object, so I can just stretch that over to the right now, and we've got our pretty tricky little stair. Then you can check all of that in 3D. Looks pretty good. Click to finish, and then finally I'm going to come back to this railing and go back to edit path. And then in the floor plan view, I'll draw in a line following over the side, and notice I'm stopping at the end of each flight. I'm going to stop there and then draw a new one along that side, or it won't slope properly. So every time the slope changes, you need to draw a new segment. Okay, so again, when I finish that, there we are. So that's pretty close to the way the real stair is. We'll make that railing look even better later on, but for now, that's good. And then the very last thing would be to maybe make sure you've got a railing that follows around the edge of this floor. And so I'll show you the quick and dirty way, which works, and that's just to extend the one that we have. But I'm getting my fingers crossed here because sometimes this can cause problems, so try it out. And if it doesn't work, there's another method. So we're going to select that, go to edit path, and then just continue drawing lines from there around the edge of my floor. Finish it, and then let's just see how it's coping with the slope. Yep, that's good enough. You'll sometimes get these funny little joins, but that's normal with stairs. Have a look at some real staircases, you'll see it's not far off what needs to happen in real life. It's all to do with the transition from the stair to the floor level. But for an exterior stair that's not really part of your design anyway, I think that's good enough. So maybe just to make it look a bit more complete, you could put in a door, at least going from level 1 out to that stair. So it's clear that the floor level there is the last step from the top of that stair. So that should be one riser between the top there and the threshold. And that should do it. So if you can get that one actually doing really well, and maybe we'll look at doing some internal stairs next week, I think, because yeah, that one's going to be really good practice actually now I think about it. And if you can manage that actually doing really well, it's a bit of a tricky one, but it's still good practice. And then you don't have to think about designing a new staircase if you're just copying those steps to try and get something like that. It's tricky, start off with an L-shaped stair like I did, and then come back and modify it to try and make it into the more complex version.